College Football 25 is a very good game. Could be a great game, but in this video, we're going to go over the things that's wrong with College Football 25. Also, we're going to give it an official grade rating for the year. And like I said, I think it's a very good game, but it's some things that could be improved on. Before we talk about all the negatives about this game, because it is a good amount, I'm not gonna say it's a lot, let's talk about some of the positives, some of the things that College Football 25 has done well, man, and just bringing the atmosphere, man. When you load up this game, at least for the first time, hopped into whether it was Penn State, Alabama, LSU, you actually felt like you was at them stadiums. Also having the amount of NIL players in the game and actually having it being realistic, updating the ratings throughout the year. It might not have been as consistent as we wanted, but just being able to update the ratings for thousands of players, something that is very different from Madden. They update it every week in Madden. Well, guess what? It's a lot less players here. So just having the game actually feel good when it comes to presentation, realism, all of that, they did a phenomenal job of bringing that atmosphere, and it will get better for next year. As we know, they're taking it to another level, also adding like jerseys all throughout the year. You had teams playing a game with a jersey, and then a couple weeks later that jersey will be added to the game. Like stuff like that, they did a phenomenal job with. Also, they done a phenomenal job with Dynasty mode. We're going to go over some stuff later in the video where they dropped the ball in Dynasty, but overall, the whole game mode of Dynasty is pretty damn good, man. Recruiting, we got it mastered at this point, but it took us a couple months, maybe a couple weeks to really get it mastered. Right now, it's a kind of simple process, but the whole overall recruiting system, pretty good. Pipelines, pretty good. It's just one thing wrong with all of this stuff, man. Transfer portal, not giving y'all no credit, man. Transfer portal is very poorly done here, man. But player progression, even though we don't really, or some people don't really like it, I kind of enjoy the randomness of player progression. I wish you just could have some type of control over it, but I think player progression, the way it's random, is kind of realistic, because in real life you have, kind of random guys turn out to be the best players in the league. Genty, he was a 3-star running back coming out of high school, and he just rushed for 2,000 yards, man. And you could have stuff like that happen in the game as far as 3 stars becoming the best players at the positions. But when it comes to stats, no. You don't have any running backs rushing for a crazy amount of yards. You don't have any crazy stat lines being put up, except for sack numbers. That's the only crazy stats you'll see in this game. Also, gameplay-wise, I would say it's pretty good, man. I'm not going to say it's amazing, but the game felt fun, especially CPU games. And, man, playing games against the CPU felt pretty good, like most of the time, man. Especially, I played on Heisman difficulty the whole entire year. My one complaint is sliders felt awful. Sliders felt really bad, man, for me personally. But just playing default Heisman settings, it was tough, but it wasn't overwhelming, man. I think the gameplay was pretty good all throughout the year. They made some updates, they fixed some things, they broke some things, pitches, whatever. It could be better, but overall, I am not mad with this gameplay, man. We had some years where the Madden gameplay was absolutely brutal. This is not one of them years. The game is playable. When it comes to online, it's a little bit less playable, in my opinion, man. Online is still fun at times, but what I realized, the CPU, player versus CPU gameplay is really good. The online gameplay is just, it depends. If y'all enjoy the content, like, comment, subscribe, man. Appreciate y'all for watching. Also check out the ebook/membership. Let's get back to the video. That's enough with the good. This is a video mostly to talk about the things that's wrong with College Football 25, man. And one of the first things we got to bring up here, man, has to be the lack of customization, man, across the board. When it comes like simple stuff, when it comes to your head coach in Dynasty, you got like 2 to 3 outfits, simple stuff like that. Also, customization to your Dynasty, man. Not being able to change players' overalls, ratings, NIL players makes sense. But they recently changed it for your team builder. You could bring a team builder, completely unrealistic players that do not exist. You try to change their ratings, overalls, and their names. You cannot change any of that, and they recently made this change within the last month or so. Simple stuff like that, customization. Also, not being able to move your draft classes over to Madden, I get it. The NIL stuff, the NIL players, you can't move it. When you have a fully AI generated draft class, you should be able to transfer that over to Madden, man. Also, simple stuff like generational prospects or being able to create your own prospect, man. Why do we not have customization in our game, man? This would take it to a whole nother level, man. Being able to customize a whole recruiting class. Some people would love to do that, man. Obviously, it'd be tedious, but I would love to, maybe throw in a generational prospect in there or something, man. Especially for something like an online dynasty. You run an online dynasty and you want to throw 2 generational players out there for your online dynasty for, players to go recruit. That would be fun, or you could just do some random stuff with your current dynasty, create some prospects, create some players, try to recruit them. It could be fun, man. Just more customization to our video game would take it to another level, man. I always bring up 2K customization because they do a phenomenal job. They really do. They do a phenomenal job when it comes to customization. 2K don't do a lot of things well, but the customization to their league, I believe what it's called, league, franchise, whatever they call it nowadays, you could change the shot clock. You could change, I believe you could put like a 4-point line in. You could change different stuff like that in your franchise. You could also change rules. Like you could have players get drafted right out of high school in your dynasty or in your franchise for 2K, man. Well, in this game, EA College Football 25-26, can we see some just more customization, man? Maybe I want to go back to the old playoff system, man, where it's only 4 teams. Man, I want to try that out for a year. Add more stuff like that. Obviously it's the first year back in forever, 10 years. So I get it. They kind of, I don't want to say they did the bare minimum, but they wasn't going to go over the top. So I'm hoping it's year 2, we get more customization to just everything, whether it's Dynasty, your team builder. Team builder customization is brutal, man. I'm telling you, man. Also, Road to Glory, even like simple customization. When you go play an online game head to head and like the Road to College Football Playoffs, whatever that mode is, I played it a couple times. It's fun. You can't change your playbook, man. So whatever playbook you like, you got to use that team. And it might not be fun if that roster is not exactly what you like. So I get it. It's going to encourage people to use different teams, maybe a little bit more. I don't know why they did it exactly. Next year, I believe they're going to change that. But like just customization across the board will take this game to the next level. My next issue with College Football 25, man, and this has to do with Dynasty. And I understand why they didn't do this one. I really do. But for me, it bothers me, man. NIL is not in the game at all. Some people say brand exposure is NIL. Some people say the hours you get each week to recruit is NIL. I'm not calling that NIL. I know what NIL is. That's not it. NIL is a very complicated thing in real life. It's forever changing. A year from today in the future, NIL will look vastly different. And how NIL looked last year is actually pretty similar. It's not that much different. That's kind of why they didn't put it in the game, because they didn't know where NIL was going and they didn't really know how to put it in the game. I just think we should have a setting. I'm keep talking about this customization. NIL setting. The people that don't like NIL, well, guess what? They can just turn it off for their dynasty. I want it on for my dynasty, man. Whether it's like some type of salary cap, that's kind of what we're moving towards here in the future within the next year. But just some type of NIL, put it in the game. I had to make my own version of NIL and make a spreadsheet for it and put it in the game. If you want to check that out, ebook in the description and whole NIL platform for you. But like some sort, gotta put it in the game next year, man. I don't care if it's poorly done. I really don't. It just has to be represented in the game because it plays such a big impact in real life college football. We have top quarterbacks at top SEC teams transferring out to smaller programs, worse opportunities for NIL bags. Less money also end up getting, y'all know who I'm talking about. But you have stuff like that happening in college football. In real life, is that good? No, but it's the reality of the sport, and I want to see it represented in our video game. Also, decommits is a very, very big part of just real life college football at this point. That also ties in with NIL. A lot of these guys are decommitting, whether it's, last minute or, at the beginning of the cycle. They commit to a school, 2 weeks later, they decommit and go into another school. A lot of that is NIL stuff, man. A lot of that is, chasing the bag. Is there anything wrong with that? I wouldn't really say no. You know, get your money, but it should be in the game. Here we rarely ever see decommits in college football 25, man. Deal breakers do not play a big enough role in this game, man. Only having one deal breaker really deciding if a guy transfer out. We need to up that. It needs to be like a combination of 5, 6 different things that lead to a guy transferring out. And that gets to my next point. The transfer portal is another big issue with this video game, man. It sucks. It stinks, the transfer portal. If you start a brand new dynasty, that first year, that transfer portal jumping. Second year, it still could be jumping. By year 3, that portal dead. You know, you don't have any big names in the portal. You don't have any fun names. You know, you don't have many game changers. And then also, probably my biggest, or one of my biggest issues with the transfer portal, you're not able to go after any guys that's not interested in you. Like you just have to be lucky. You have to be lucky that you're, located, your school you pick located in Texas, Florida, just one of these states that produce the most amount of athletes, because you'll have sometimes where you have no good players interested in your school. In real life, that's not the reality of this, man. You see 5-star players going down to small schools, going down to FCS level, man. We see it here with Jaden Rashada, man. Literally just went to Sacramento State. He was at, he's the guy that was at Florida, Miami, and then also went to Georgia, Arizona State, former 4-star, damn near 5-star. Now he's going to Sacramento State. But it happens. It happens, man. You have these 5-stars, these very big recruits, end up going to smaller programs for bigger opportunities. We don't see that in the video game, man. In the game, you see guys enter the transfer portal, and they enter the transfer portal, go be a backup at another school that's from the state that they're from, most likely, man. Go be a backup here. You'll have Georgia end up signing 4 quarterbacks in the transfer portal, 4 seniors, and they all be backups, man. Stuff like that happens. You'll have, 3 seniors at the running back position, and none of them transfer out. In real life, somebody transferring out because they want that starting job, man. You have stuff like that. Also, no spring presence at all in this video game, man. And that just doesn't sit right, because the spring is a very important part of the off season, and then also, real life college football. You obviously got the spring game, spring practice, and after the spring game, spring practice, you got a lot of guys hopping into that portal, whether they want more NIL money, whether they want a starting chance, or, and then you also got teams bringing in more guys because, okay, we have reevaluated our roster. This is where we're weak at. We need to go get a quarterback. We need to go get a lineman. We need to go get a guy. And in this video game, we have no presence for the spring window. We just have one off-season period. And I get it. I think it just should be the option for us to have a spring window, a spring ball, whether it's just a spring game. I understand. No practice, too much. Give us a spring game where we could do a little scrimmage against ourselves, and we can see who plays well. And then after that, the transfer portal open. Just like in real life, we got 2 transfer portal windows. Give us 2 transfer portal windows in a video game, man. But also give us the option, if we don't want that, give us the option to turn that off, man. Just give us the option. That's the best of both worlds here. Also, the obvious stuff with Road to Glory, not having enough positions, no high school. Also, for me, I want a 2-way player, man. I don't know if I've seen many people talk about this. I want to play running back and middle linebacker. I want to play quarterback and safety. I want a 2-way player. I just seen Travis Hunter do it. I want a 2-way player for my Road to Glory, man. That's going to make me happy. That's going to make me smile, man. Also, that remind me, another issue. We have had the biggest 2-way player, of our generation. If I say all the time, people going to get mad. But Travis Hunter, call it what it is. He was a phenomenal college athlete. 2-way player, ends up winning the Heisman, regardless of what you think of the kid. There's no way 2-way players do not work in our video game, and they never fixed it. Like, how do we have stuff like that, man? Never fixed it. And when I say they don't work, you can have a 2-way player on one side of the ball. If he's a starting wide receiver and then you also play him on defense, his defensive stats will not record. So he won't win the Heisman. He'll only win the Heisman off his receiver stats. Defensive stats will play no impact. Stuff like that. That's simple. That's simple stuff I feel like to fix. But the fact that, we played the whole year without 2-way players even being relevant. You even got the coachability and tactician that allows your 2-way players to get a boost when they play the other side of the ball. But it's all for nothing because you can't even see their stats. The stats don't even record. And that's unfortunate. They also don't develop on both sides of the ball. Simple stuff, man. How do you not develop on both sides of the ball? Like, there's no point in me playing you at corner and receiver if you're only going to get better at receiver. There's ways to finesse it, and we went over that. I dropped the whole video on how to finesse on two-way player for them to develop on offense and defense. It's a way to do it, but you shouldn't have to, find a finesse for it, man. It should just be a part of the game, especially this year out of all when we had a two-way player. Next year, I imagine they'll, make that system a little bit better now that we've seen what Travis Hunter did, and, people probably do want two-way players, because I would love a two-way player on my Dynasty. That sounds like such a fun concept, but it just does not work out in the game. My next issue with CFB 25, it's just like little details got missed out on, and I get it. There's so much that goes into this video game, man. They had to make every single stadium and put in this video game. So much that goes in this game. But details, little small details that matter to me. Trophy room. Simple concept, but the fact that we can't even look to see who won the national championship last year, the year before that, simple stuff like that. Also like a recruiting tracker or something. Like, I can't see every recruiting class I signed as far as like the good players I signed, or even see if I signed the #1 class 2 years in a row. I have no way of looking at previous stuff, man. Like, it should just be a way for me to see all my first round draft picks, everyone that got drafted in the first round for my team. Like, simple stuff like that, man, that just for me makes the immersion a lot better. But for us not to have that, it's unfortunate. It's a small detail for some people, but for a lot of people, it's a big deal. Also, I would say even like not having a setting on your transfer portal 1 and then also your recruiting. Like, for me, it should be Heisman, All-American, like for your transfer portal and for your recruiting as well. Like, if I want my recruiting to be as difficult as possible, I can put it on Heisman. If I want the transfer portal to be more intense, it should be a setting for me to make it more intense, more potent, so more top-level players are entering the portal. Guess what? 2K, you could do exactly that. You can make each and every draft class better or worse. It's a setting where you could put the overall potential higher or lower for each draft class. Put that in college football 25, man. Even, like, make it so we could change the potential for the league, man. Safeties will never develop, like, past 90 overall in this video game. Make it a way for me to change that. Like, I want some safeties to develop to be 99. We got Caleb Downs, who is probably going to be a top 10 draft pick this next year, arguably the best player in college football next season. What his overall is going to be next year, maybe 95 plus. His overall this year was like 95 plus also. But in a video game, we never see a guy develop to be 90 plus overall at safety. You rarely see it. You have to finesse it, and the way you finesse it, you gotta move a receiver over to safety, and then they'll develop past that 90, 92 overall threshold, whatever. But it's like a finesse. It just don't happen. So make it a way for us to change these settings. It's all about customization. And the last thing on my list, and y'all please let me know anything down below. And after this, I also will give my overall rating for college football 25. But my last thing, I feel like they gave up on the video game a little bit too quick. And when I say gave up, obviously at some point during the year, the devs stopped updating the game. And I feel like that happened a little bit too quick. They stopped updating the game, whether it was changing recruiting, whether it was, updating player ratings, fixing glitches, bugs. We had some glitches and bugs in the game since day one that's never fixed. Recruiting glitch, the recruiting bug. And for people that do offline Dynasty, you have the choice to do it or not. For my online Dynasty guys, you damn near got to do it, because everyone else in your league is doing that, recruiting glitch, and you're at a disadvantage if you do not do it. You're at a disadvantage if you don't finesse position changes in the online Dynasty. Some stuff like that. Finessing position changes, the speed rushing outside linebacker. Like, that is a glitch in this video game that never got fixed. I'm sure the devs know about it, but it's something that's been in this game the entire year. And for me, it's like, I want to move guys to outside linebacker, but sometimes I can't because they turn into this speed rushing outside linebacker, speed rushing linebacker that will not develop. So it's like I have to keep him at whatever position. I have to move in the middle linebacker, even though I'm going to have to play him at outside linebacker. Little small stuff like that did not get fixed during this year. Also, like, I don't even know if we got an update after the playoffs. In Madden, after the season, after the Super Bowl, they'll go in, update the Super Bowl winners. I'm not sure we got an update after, the whole playoffs. I believe Travis Hunter did get an update after he won the Heisman. I do remember that. But I just feel like they stopped updating the game way too early, man. And I get it. You want to work on the next year game, man. This game is done. It made its money. We got to work on the next thing. We got to dedicate our resources to the future. But come on, man. Keep us in the loop. Don't forget about it. Let's be fair. Probably like after the first 4 months the game was out, I think they kind of stopped dropping updates. I could figure it out. I could look it up and, really see when their last major update was. But it's unfortunate, especially when you got glitches in the game that's, either ruining gameplay, ruining recruiting, ruining your online dynasties, all stuff like that. But that's all I got for y'all today, man. Please let me know anything I missed down below. Anything I missed, anything that's making college football, least enjoyable, and my rating for college football 25, I'm gonna give it a solid 7.6. And for me, that's a good grade, man. 7.6 out of 10, 76% if you want to do it out of 100, and to me, that's a pretty good grade. It's a C, but C get degrees, man. Honestly, I think that's a pretty good grade for me. You rarely gonna see games get a 9 or 10. 7.6 is a good game for me, man. I did enjoy this game all throughout the year. I'm gonna continue to post content on it as long as y'all continue to watch and support. I appreciate that. Y'all let me know y'all rating for the game down below. Out of 10, let me know what y'all rating is. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we on to the next one.